The music news for the streets, the music news for your beats, the news for the music stuff that you gonna need. We gon' talk about plugins, we gon' talk about gear. If it's news on this music, we gon' talk about it here. Let's go.
I wouldn't say money or security. I wouldn't say music is pay to win. Well, I wouldn't say that nowadays, because back in the day, you couldn't even get into music if you didn't have any money. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, people didn't have home studios back in the day, so you had to pay to go to a studio to record music. You know, there wasn't all this software to where you could just make a beat at home. You had to buy a board, you had to buy a Triton, or you had to buy some kind. If you wanted to make music that sounded professional, you had to spend thousands of dollars on boards and all this other stuff. So I've just grown through it. I've seen. I mean, I started out doing music before recording in DAWs was really a thing, or like before plugins were any good. So you didn't really make beats with plugins. You know, I'm old school. So I remember when you had to go somewhere, somebody had to have a board, somebody had to have an MPC, somebody had to have equipment in order for you to make music. Music ultimately has gotten easier. Matter of fact, I was thinking about doing a video about this. Then I saw Paul III's video yesterday, and it's funny how YouTubers work, because sometimes you're thinking about doing a video and then you open up your YouTube and somebody's done that video. But like gatekeeping, should they bring gatekeeping back? And my answer to that is, I kind of think we need to fucking gatekeep music again, because people can just put out anything and it's just fucking awful. There's like a lot of awful music out there, or like, you know, people. I think that since music isn't gatekept anymore, the quality of music is going to be awful in 10 to 15 years, because anybody can put a song out. So you can put a song out on TikTok and it can be a terrible song. Like, I was not listening to some Ice Spice song came up in my feed, and I was like, this is absolutely awful. This is a bad song. But the song's got, 300 million views or whatever. And it's like, this is absolutely awful. Like this is not a good song. But because she's cool and people follow her, and since we're in an age of following's more important than the actual quality of music that you put out, I feel like music's going to continue to blow up, and it's going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. Like, I feel like things should be gatekept, because nowadays everybody wants instant gratification, and everybody wants to be good right away. Not realizing your favorite artist from back in the day, it took them years to master their craft. Like, it took Whitney Houston 10, 15 years to master her voice before she could actually sing and put out albums and tracks. But now everybody just wants to get auto-tune, and they want to, not even put in 10 hours of work on their voice, put auto-tune on some shit, drop a track, and they feel like they deserve the same respect as somebody who's an actual singer. Or like, people will get AI and make an AI beat, and then they want the same respect as Metro Boomin, or they're wondering why their beats aren't selling, or they want the same exact gratification as somebody who put in 10, 15 years worth of work. And that doesn't work in any other industry. Like, you can't pick up a basketball today and wonder why you're not as good as LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't pick up a baseball bat today and wonder why you can't hit as good as Shohei Ohtani. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't pick up a football today and wonder why you can't throw the football as good as Patrick Mahomes. But with music, people feel like just because they want to do music, they have the right to fucking be famous, or they have the right to make money off of music without putting in any of the work. Like, I don't believe that with music you have to go to college for music, because ultimately, if you go to college for music, that's just teaching you the terminology. Like, you're not going to go to college and learn how to be a great musician. They're not going to teach you how to make beats. They're not going to tell you how to hear rhythms. They're not going to tell you how to make melodies. They're not going to tell you all this other stuff. They're going to teach you a lot of technical stuff about mixing and mastering and stuff like that, but you still have to go through trial and error, and you can find that stuff on the internet. So I feel like trial and error is more important. But I just feel like we kind of need to bring back gatekeeping to music, because it's just out of control at this point. That's just my thoughts. I know a lot of people, when you're new and you're just becoming a producer, you don't believe that, because you're like, you want everybody to love your music and you want everybody to love everything. But like, if this shit was easy, everybody would do it. Like, everybody would do it, If it was easy, everybody would be famous. If it was like easy to figure all this stuff out, figure out what sounds go together, figure out everything. If it was just easy, then everybody would do it. If it was easy to put down melodies, everybody would do it. And so I get that technology, and I read something that was like, well, the old heads, you boomers are just mad because technology is the great equalizer. But what happens if technology goes away? Like, what happens if you can't use AI plugins or programs anymore? What happens if you can't use stuff that's AI based anymore? How would you be able to create music? You wouldn't be able to. And so, like, in future generations, they're just going to be looking at music like, and from the perspective of, oh, well, you just make music by going to this website and saying make trap beat, you know what I'm saying, and then boom, trap beat's going to come out. I don't want my kids to grow up in that world. I want my kids to grow up in a world to where people are putting their heart and their soul into music and they're still listening to it. No, I did used to ghost produce though. I used to do some ghost producing, but I don't really ghostwrite for people. That's not really my thing. I've written choruses and stuff for singers, but I'm not giving my lyrics away. I mean, I guess if somebody named the right price, I might do some ghostwriting, but Prince, I think you're missing what I'm saying by gatekeepers. I'm talking about there needs to be, I don't even know why you would say gatekeepers are the devil either, because the way I'm talking about gatekeepers are, there needs to be a check and balance system involved in music. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can do it. That's not the debate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to do music. What I'm saying is there should be a checks and balance, because with no checks and balance and no gatekeeping, we get songs like WAP on the radio. You know what I'm saying? With no gatekeeping and no checks and balances, we have to listen to people say my booty hole's brown in songs, and people are singing it and kids are singing that shit. So with no gatekeeping, people can do whatever they want. So as you're saying that you think gatekeeping is of the devil, well, if there is no gatekeepers, then the devil music or whatever music of the devil won't be put out either. So there needs to be a check and balance there. Who would be the judge of quality? I mean, that's a rough one, man. That's a rough one. I mean, I don't think that it should be, a 16-year-old kid who doesn't know any better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watch a lot of EA Ski in the morning. I rock with him. I rock with his channel. And certain things that he says are just fact. I mean, like, whether people believe it or not, it's just fact. If you listen to the quality of music, it has deteriorated throughout time. So, like, now that I'm an old man and I see the perspective of old people, I understand what they're saying. So, like, in the 90s, they were talking about how the quality of music isn't the same as it was in the 70s or in the 60s and stuff like that. But that's because if you look at the way that music is, in the 60s and 70s, everything was live music. You know what I'm saying? So they're recording everything live. So you hear an actual guitar, you're going to hear actual drums, you're going to hear an actual piano, you're going to hear an actual keyboard. So everything that you're hearing is the organic sound. And so throughout time, sound has become more processed. And so now that sound has become more processed and that processed sound has become the norm, it is normal for you to hear a fake guitar and be okay listening to it because that's the norm. So before that wasn't the norm. Like in, let's say, 1972, you weren't going to be able to get off by using an FL Studio Flex guitar. And it's not a knock to a Flex guitar, but you weren't going to be able to get off using that guitar because it doesn't sound realistic. Anybody who listens to music knows that's not what the fuck a guitar sounds like, Now I think some of the advances are good. So like the way that drums get processed, I feel like that is a more positive thing for music because it makes the drums stand out in the mix better. But if you've never heard a pure sound, if you've never heard a pure piano, if you've never heard a pure guitar, if you've never heard any of these sounds, who are you to judge what sounds good and what sounds bad? Because you don't even know what the original sound sounds like. That's like, I always use this analogy right here. When I talk about when people who are like younger than me and like, they argue about this is hip hop or this isn't hip hop, or people who aren't necessarily of the hip hop culture. And they try to argue with you about what's hip hop and what's not. Well, this is my analogy for that. Look, I can't take some spaghetti that I made with ragu and take it over to Italy and argue with an old Italian lady about this is authentic spaghetti when I don't even know what authentic spaghetti tastes like. So I'm trying to knock off and I'm trying to argue with her that the knockoff is better than the original. So that's kind of the way that I feel about music, is that you can't be the judge of what's good unless you've heard the original. I do get that there becomes a point to where you do get old, and you know the next generation's coming up and the next generation wants to do their thing, but the next generation still needs to be guided by the older generation. So even when hip hop started, you know, the generation took off and they started, but you still had, you know, older people in the industry who were guiding the young artist. And then as hip hop has evolved, there was still always somebody there to guide them in the right direction. Well, now with the age of music, you don't need anybody to guide you in any direction. You can get on that, you can get in your computer and you can make a goofy, a corny, a funny song, a nasty song, and then just upload it to the internet without worrying about what any of the repercussions of this song is going to be in the future. So the repercussions of this song in the future may be the next generation of kids are making the nastiest songs ever. You know, I feel like there needs to be some governing body. Everything has a governing body. You know what I'm saying? The United States has, every country has a governing body, somebody that governs over the, you know, the people. Every job has somebody that governs over the job. Like, you know, there's a supervisor, there's a general manager, there's assistant managers, there's swing managers, you know, there's crew trainers, you know, there's people in charge or whatever you want to call them. There's always levels at everything of people who are controlling what's going on. What's going on with music now, there's nobody in control. It's just like a freaking wild free-for-all. And it's like people will do anything for clout. So instead of, I'm not somebody who is big on saying that, I'm not somebody who's big on saying that you have to love music to do it. I don't believe that. I absolutely don't believe it. I wouldn't stand on that. I believe that you can do music for a job if it is what you want to do, because no different than any other job, 80-90% of the people who have regular jobs, they don't like their job. So, you know, music, if you're good at it, like if, let's say you played piano since you were 5 or 6, and now you're 18, you've been playing piano for 12 years and you're phenomenal at it. Let's say you are the next Beethoven, right? But you don't like playing piano. That doesn't mean you can't go get a job playing piano. You put in all the time, the effort, the work, everything in order to be a good pianist. Why do you have to love it in order to make money off of it? You've still put in the time, you still put in the effort, you know? So you should be able to get paid off your talents if you're talented enough. So I will never be somebody who says that you absolutely have to love music to make music. I love music, and that's why I still make music every day. But I can see the other side of it where, man, I'm good at it though. So why I can't do it for a job and do this job instead of being a manager at a retail store or working on Wall Street or doing something else, you know? I just don't necessarily think that it needs to be like that. Sorry, I know I'm missing some of y'all's comments. Right. Some of your tracks take weeks to tweak because you're putting in the time, the effort, and the love to do it, you know? AI is definitely cheating. I think I got something I'm gonna come out with. I wish I knew somebody who did like fire art. Because I got this idea for kind of a logo, a new slogan or whatever. I can't say it because somebody might take it and use it, but I got the fire ass fucking idea, but I don't do art like that. But I need somebody to make me like a logo that I can put on shirts and shit like that. But it's a great idea. I just can't really do it. Yeah, I do thumbnails and stuff, but I'm not really good at doing art like that, you know? What did Perk Dog say? Let's all stick together and build a movement. They'll respect us. You know, I wish it was that easy. But here's the thing, we can all stick together as like musicians, but there's still all these companies that are making tools to make it easier and easier and easier for the next person. So the musician getting into it today doesn't understand anything that I'm talking about right now because they haven't been in it. You know, a lot of people think that people are just naturally talented when it comes to music. Yes, there are some people who are just naturally talented. So they can learn how to play a piano and they're going to be better than somebody else who practiced and practiced and practiced. That's like everything in life. People are gifted at some stuff. But just because you're talented doesn't mean that you didn't put the work in, you know? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't practice hard enough, you know? So, like, I know I have friends that I've been rapping with as long as I have, and they're more talented than I am at rapping. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and lie and be like, oh, I'm just as dope as them. I rap different than them. But I have like some friends that are just insane. Like when they be rapping, I'd be like, how the fuck did you come up with that? Like, you know, I'm amazed. And I've been rapping with this dude for 20 years. And I'm like, I don't understand how your brain works like that. I don't understand how you're so talented that you can come up with something that sounds like this. I just don't understand it. but it's because the way that their brain works, it's the way that their mind works. Well, the person on the outside doesn't understand that this person's at home reading all these books, and when they're reading these books, this information, the way it's sinking into their mind is forcing them to come up with different thoughts, or the stuff that they're watching on TV, they're getting thoughts because they're practicing all the time. They're rapping 2, 3 hours, 4 hours a day. And so whenever they sit down and do anything else, they're still in go mode for rapping. So like, or with pianos, you hear, you might, if somebody's playing piano every single day or making beats every single day, and then they're watching a TV show and the theme song or a commercial break or something comes on and some weird melody comes out of that, that melody might resonate in their head for a while. And then when they go sit down to make a beat later on, they kind of have that melody in their head, and then they switch it up and they flip it and they make it something of their own. Well, most people aren't doing stuff like that. So we're all built a little bit different. We're all built a little different. I know I'm missing some of y'all's comments. I'm not even mad, Scooter, with music programming, because music programming takes time and effort too. You're not going to be just good programming. And like really, realistically, people have been programming music for 40 years now. I don't know when the first sequencer came out, but people have been programming music in synthesizers for 40 years now. So, I mean, you can program it on the computer. I'm not against that, because you still have to learn. You still have to learn scales. You still have to learn what notes are going to sound good together. You still have to learn stuff. For me, the biggest issue I have with the computer would be just making something AI, I get that things changing and stuff like that. But I feel like I think computers were good in music, because basically, a synth is a mini computer. I mean, granted, it's not, but it is. It's just a machine with circuitry in it. So I'm all right with that. I mean, I'm all right with there being an easier entry into music. So that's not what I'm trying to say either. So I hope that that's not the message I'm giving. I'm not mad that there's an easier entry into music. So if a computer now is the basic entry into music, I'm okay with that, right? But I still feel that you need to practice. I still feel that you need to learn. You still need to learn your craft, You can't always take the easy route out. Yeah, I don't understand where the fun is at making a whole beat with AI, Like what hurts me the most about music is that since I rap, that's like primarily what I did for most of my life, I've rapped longer than I haven't rapped, and I'm 43. So, just think about that. I've been rapping for 26 years now, like consistently, like putting together songs and making music, not just rapping a little bit for fun, but actually putting together music. I've been doing it for 26 years now. So I've been rapping longer than I haven't been rapping. And as I watch the art form, when I listen to rap music and you can't understand people, it's like a shot to the heart. Cause you're too late, baby. You give love a bad name. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But it hurts my heart, man, because that's not what the art was built on. One of the biggest things was, enunciation. That was always one of the biggest things. And so it's like your cadence and your enunciation were two of the most important things that you could that you needed to work on. Your voice. The way you presented things, and now that's just not important anymore. You can just get on the mic and you can just be like, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, you can get on the mic and do shit like that, and people go crazy. And that's just with auto-tune. So it's not even you singing it well. It's just auto-tune making all the noise for you, and you can blow up with that. So I feel like that's just an issue. I can see auto-tune being an instrument to some, but I still feel like you need to work on singing, because I think I talked about this in a video where I had some young dude try to get into an argument with me about people who use auto-tune are just as good as singers as people who don't use auto-tune, which is 1000% not facts. Like you're not going to tell me that you're as good of a singer as somebody who doesn't use auto-tune. Like, okay, turn the auto-tune off and let's see who sings better. That's the easiest fucking way to end a debate. Turn off the auto-tune and let's see who sings better. T-Pain is the exception to the rule, and I get that a lot of artists do use auto-tune, but most artists who are like major artists who like are singers, it's only a little bit of auto-tune. It's not like it's really fixing the pitches of their singing. It's adding a little bit of top line shine to their singing. Yeah, T-Pain popularized, you know what I'm saying, Auto-tune, that's without a shadow of a doubt. He definitely did. Sarah, kind of. See, here's the thing with auto-tune, right? Because Cher did have the first auto-tune song, but that didn't really popularize auto-tune, because after that, people weren't going ham on auto-tune. So when people say T-Pain popularized it, it's because once T-Pain used it, everybody wanted to use it. So sometimes just because you're the originator, like Chuck Berry, you know, and all them dudes are the originator of rock and roll, but Elvis gets the most props for it because he popularized it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not to discredit Cher, but she didn't popularize it. But to take it one step further, all auto-tune really is kind of like a new age vocoder. You know what I'm saying? Like Roger and Zapp sounded like they were using auto-tune way back in the day on the songs like, I wanna be your man, I wanna be your man. I mean, that sounds like auto-tune. It's just a vocoder. So yeah, and Cher could sing too. She didn't need it. Cher absolutely didn't. Do you believe in love? I don't sound nothing like Cher, but you know, she could actually sing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, talkbox, all that stuff. I mean, really, it's just a different, you know, a different form of auto-tune, because you can tune your stuff. Yeah, fans, but the reason why fans don't care about lyrics is because lyrics haven't been important for the longest amount of time. And part of that is like record labels, you know, record labels issues where they're more factuated on money than actual music. So like, here is the thing that's jacked up about the whole music industry, is that if they pushed positive music, it would take off, because whatever they put on the radio and whatever they put out is going to be popular. It's going to be, the more you hear a song over and over again, you're going to like it. You know, like I've heard so many songs that I've absolutely hate. Bust Down Tatiana, I absolutely hated that song, right? Hated that song. Don't let Bust Down Tatiana come on right now. I'm about to get loose. You know what I'm saying? Or like what was the song with Lil Yachty? Get it, get it. My life, my lifestyle. I used to hate that song. Let that song come on right now. I'm about to jam out because I've listened to it a million times. I've listened to it so much that my brain is programmed that this is an okay song to listen to. So if they put more positive music on the radio, positive music could sell, because back in the day, what did we have? If I ruled the world, can't nobody hold me down. Oh no. I mean, all that stuff was music that we were listening to growing up when I was growing up, you know, you got a problem, give me some more. But like, the music wasn't necessarily negative. And so they could push positive music, but they just don't, you know, they just don't. They like gangster rap became popular, and then instead of taking a trend and playing a little bit of a trend, they'll just take this trend and then erase the whole entire old trend and pretend like the old trend never happened, and they'll just completely eliminate it because they don't know how to manage the situation. They don't know how to manage balancing different kind of artists, like on the radio and stuff like that. Yeah, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, all that, Rakim, all that used to be positive music, you know? The niggas was rapping about my Adidas. You know, they weren't rapping about getting high and doing drugs and shit like that. Now, I will say this. I wouldn't say 50 Cent's popularized more modern murder rap. I wouldn't agree with that. But what I will say is, it's our generation's fault that this generation only raps about doing drugs and the shit they rap about, because we rapped about selling drugs to people and all that other shit. We, you know, and who the fuck were we selling drugs to? People our age. So people our age, they were on drugs. They were addicted to drugs. So then their kids grew up in households where their parents were addicted to drugs, and they just followed the cycle. So our generation isn't abstaining from holding and taking some responsibility on the next generation, because we're the ones who created this cycle. You know, everybody talking about how they were selling, slanging, gang banging, all this other stuff. Well, we created that picture for the next generation, and all that music has turned into the golden oldies. You know what I'm saying? So like, all that shit is now golden oldies. And so that's the stuff that these kids grew up listening to. And so that's what they got put into their mind. That's what their parents are listening to in the car. So like, that's like when I'm with my kids, I don't listen to music that glamorizes anything negative. So I listen to, I'll listen to like Tribe, or my kids listen to old school shit. So they'll listen to some Michael Jackson, or they'll listen to Prince, or they'll listen to some Nas, or they'll listen to like old Kanye West. They'll listen to shit that's like positive, because I don't want them to have the perception of this is what's okay and this is what you should be listening to. But once they get out the car, nigga, I'll shoot you. You know what I'm saying? But when they're in the car, you know what I'm saying?
Bruh.
I'm sorry. Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, all them old school rappers, they were all fire. KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions. That's what made me fall in love with hip hop was KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions, The Bridge Is Over, The Bridge Is Over, The Bridge Is Over. That was one of the first songs that I actually remember and I loved, hearing at like barbecues and stuff. And then Rakim, It's Been a Long Time. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. I was a huge Rakim has a huge influence on my early rap style. I rapped a lot like Rakim, like the way I used to piece together words. Like I think a lot of you guys have heard me rap before, but I used to rap like exacting out approximately, really ain't no stopping me from dropping these, falling like they jumped up off of balconies with high gravity, so casually. I'm losing my state of sanity through fiction and reality, changing my mentality to wreck a rhyme with brutality. The flame in my heart burns like calories. It's running through my capillaries. Still there's agony from them C's, talking about they ice and salaries, they bitches and they fantasies. Got me feeling sick like some allergies. In my anatomy, gradually the thoughts reload automatically with an endless capacity. Rhymes depth for density and high intensity. Got a tendency to mingle with the enemy. Study his moves and leave him empty like a gimpy. Simply don't tempt me. Letting you know who's the king like Billy. My abilities past show capabilities with endless strategies and artillery. Ask my man Zachary how it had to be. We left you redder than a daiquiri for trying attacking me. But that used to be like how I used to rap and stuff, So I wrote that rap. I think I was either 17 or 18. But I was heavily influenced on like hip hop, real hip hop shit, So, that's a super throwback. I kicked out on that beat that thing I did with Av, where I did a remix with him, and that's the problem. Rap should be about both. Rap music shouldn't just be about lyrics, and rap music shouldn't just be about production. Because if rap music was just about lyrics, Cannabis would be the dopest rapper of all time, but his production was awful. So you need that balance of lyrics and music. But to take it one step further, you need the other elements of like rap music too. Because a lot of people, they get mad when like MC Hammers or the rappers like that, who were making dance songs. Well, hip hop started, at parties where people were beatboxing and DJs were spinning records, people were rapping and dancing. So an element of hip hop is b-boying and dancing and breaking. So there needs to be music for breakers too. And so it doesn't all have to be this super lyrical music, but it needs to be good music. Like there needs to be people who are rapping songs to make people dance for the culture, because dancing is an element of hip hop. Hip hop isn't just music, it's a culture. And so that's where people get lost a lot of times, is like when they get mad at rappers who are commercial rappers who make dance songs. Bitch, they was dancing in the 70s and the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Just because y'all don't want to dance don't mean they can't dance. There's different genres and subgenres of rap music. And that's like a big problem with the genre, with the culture nowadays, is that people want to eliminate a huge parts of the culture. You know what I'm saying? It definitely started off as party music and kind of, but motherfuckers didn't know what they were talking about at first. So it was a lot of battling at parties, freestyling and stuff, because it was a brand new genre. So it was all this, it took all of these pieces in order for hip hop to be where it's at right now. It took all these pieces for rap music to have been the number one genre, maybe not this year, but in the, few previous years. It took all of these elements in order for the music to be where it's at. And people just don't realize that. I should clip this and make this a video. What do y'all think? Y'all think I should clip this and make this a video? Tyrone, what's up, bro? Tyrone, I can't kick you out, but you better call Tyrone. Call him.
Some, hit the key.